Education is often seen as the foundation for a brighter future, yet in many parts of northern Nigeria, particularly the northwest, this foundation is seriously under threat. Well, hello and thank you very much for joining us on this week's edition of Edu Connect, where we bring you the latest from the world of education globally. I am Precious Obaze, and of course today promises to be very interesting and enlightening, and hopefully will spur us all to action as it pertains to that all-important sector. And of course, as is our custom, we will go for a quick break right about now, and when we return, we will bring some education news. Join us again. Let's get right into it. Now, as Nigeria grapples with the challenge of inadequate and unqualified teachers in its basic education sector, the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, TRCN, has called on the federal government to fund the agency to enable it carry out the teachers training program effectively. We do have a report, and there's more. Take a listen.
TRCN and other management staffs of the agency made the call while monitoring the conduct of the 2024 TRCN Batch B Professional Qualifying Exam PQE in Abuja. They also disclosed that about 16,614 teachers registered for the professional examination, reiterating the importance of PQE to teachers' professionalism in Nigeria and globally.
We recorded 16,640-something candidates taking part, supposed to take part in the examination, because you never can tell if there are ones that may not call for the well. This exam started on the 14th. Some states have concluded their own exam, and as they conclude, they give informed reports to the headquarters that they have concluded their own exam. So, but for details of the report, that will be when they come back to the headquarters.
Test impersonation, the app that ensures that it is only the people that register for this examination that are writing the exam, which we use for accreditation. Apart from that, we also have, usually we give them their numbers manually, but now we have ensure that the computer generates the number. That is why some of them, they came here for purposes of the sanctity of the examination and to ensure that nobody does anything funny. The computer generates the exam number for all the candidates, which was later communicated to them. So that is that. And we are coming to the point where everybody now will be registering online, where every year we improve on our processes, and that is for now what we have done. As you can see, the exam today is more seamless than ever, and we have tried to manage the crowd.
Representing the Permanent Secretary and the Minister of Education, the Director, ICT Department, Federal Ministry of Education, Abubakar Issa, however, commended TRCN for the seamless conduct of the examination.
Well organized, and we're very proud of TRCN, the way the exam is being conducted.
Well, away from that story, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, says it has officially commenced the accreditation of centers for the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME. According to a statement, JAMB Public Relations Officer Dr. Fabian Benjamin said the accreditation process is the first critical step in preparation for the annual examination. JAMB also called on all new computer-based test centers who desire to participate in the 2025 UTME exercise to visit the JAMB website to avail themselves of the requirements for establishing a JAMB-approved CBT center. The board also called on already established centers that were successfully accredited and participated in the 2024 UTME without any issue to proceed to register their interest through the Center Management System portal. JAMB further stated that its zonal and state offices will create accounts for new centers on the CMS portal to facilitate their registration, pointing out that all centers must conduct an autobot on a date that will be communicated to them. Of course, this is a part of their preparation for the physical accreditation visit by the board's team. And now to another story. The federal government has reiterated its commitment to deploy research and innovation tools to generate and create wealth for the socio-economic transformation and development of the country. And the Minister of Education, Dr. Marufu Tunji Alausa, reiterated government commitment while inspecting TED4 National Research Fair Exhibition Arena, which commenced on the 18th of November through to the 22nd of November 2024.
Disclosure President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed the continued strengthening of structures in relevant public and private sectors in order to quickly translate the national research and innovation results into marketable products to ensure job creation, wealth creation, and engage the youth productively in line with his renewed hope agenda.
To tackle many of such challenges, Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has already made it clear that his renewed hope agenda will be implemented based on local research and technology outputs, because nowhere in this world can economic growth be achieved without the full use of output of research and technology efforts. This research fair will also address the desired synergy amongst all the relevant research and technology agencies to fast-track the development of their effort and result towards nation building. This synergy will ensure that the dividends of democracy are delivered efficiently in our research and innovation institutions.
The minister revealed that the research fair will also address the desired synergy amongst all relevant research and technology agencies to fast-track the deployment of their efforts and results towards nation's building.
While recognizing and appreciating TED Fund for this effort, I want to assure you that TED Fund will further be strengthened by harnessing resources from the public, private sectors, and international communities to enable our talented researchers, engineers, innovators to come up with solutions to national requirements in all sectors of our economy, especially the power sector, healthcare delivery, agricultural development, water supply, communications, and other areas.
He further stated that the synergy will ensure that the dividends of democracy are delivered effectively, adding that research and innovation institutes scattered across the ministry are well coordinated to be effective.
It's heartening to see that TED Fund continues to carry out its core responsibility to the Nigerian education sector by organizing and funding fairs, with people drawn from the different institutions, high institutions of the country. And of course, companies are encouraged to go to those fairs. I mean, government can't do it all alone. Companies are encouraged to go to those fairs, and then whatever technology is being deployed or being displayed, cash in on it, adopt it and improve it. Of course, together we can make Nigeria great again. Now, still on the new Minister of Education, the federal government has announced the removal of Engineer Oheku Mohammed Salami, the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of the Governing Council of the Federal University of Health Sciences, Utukpo, Benue State, due to actions unbecoming of his office and violations of established procedures. And the decision follows a series of unprofessional actions by Engineer Salami, including the suspension of the Vice-Chancellor, without following the prescribed procedures. Despite intervention by the Federal Ministry of Education and formal request to rescind the unlawful suspension, Engineer Salami refused to comply, resulting to abusive and threatening behavior towards the ministry's directors, including the permanent secretary. The Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, noted that such conduct undermines the ministry's supervisory role over the university and jeopardizes the institution's stability and governance. Now, in line with this decision, the minister has requested the appointment of a new Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of the Governing Council for the Federal University of Health Sciences, Utukpo, to restore proper governance and ensure the university operates in accordance with the principles of law, due process and accountability. All these changes are with immediate effect. This action reflects the federal government's resolve to uphold good governance, the rule of law, and due process in the management of the nation's universities, thereby ensuring their continued growth and development. And of course, in the last 24 hours, we've heard that several governing councils, some have been shuffled, and of course, we did see that the chairman of the governing council and pro-chancellor of the Federal Health University in Utukpo, Benue State, has also been sacked. Several stories on that, and of course on Tuesday on the morning show, we will have a discussion on that. You do not want to miss any part of it. Now, the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, has restated the Navy's drive to ensure the Safe School initiative of the federal government is actualized. Now, Ogala said this at the commissioning of a furnished 3 blocks of classrooms at Adunu community in Paikoro local government area of Niger State. It is part of the Nigerian Navy's Civil Military Special Intervention Quick Impact Project engagement aimed at improving the socio-economic well-being of the people of Niger State. Here's another report. Take a listen.
Before the Nigerian Navy embarked upon the Special Intervention Quick Impact Project at the Major I.E. Muazu Memorial Primary School in Adunu Community in Paikoro local government area of Niger State, constructed in the 50s, it had poor enrollment and lacked adequate facilities.
But as at now, we've been having a lot of parents coming to register their wards in the school, and we have enough population now. Number of pupils now, we have 1,516 pupils in the school. Well, before it was just 847.
We, the teachers, if we want to urinate, we go out. Sometimes we go back to our homes. That's the negative part of it. We are not enjoying the environment. But now everything is well furnished. There are enough toilets. Everything is well furnished.
Speaking during the commissioning of the project constructed by Rear Admiral Stefanos Albara, the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, represented by the Acting Chief of Naval Transformation, Nigerian Navy, Rear Admiral Julius Nwagu, noted that the provision of infrastructure for any educational training is key to the emancipation of illiteracy and poverty.
This aimed at winning the hearts and minds, and of course the critical support of the community in all military operations in attainment of national security objectives.
The Flag Officer commanding Naval Training Command, Rear Admiral Stefanos Albara, who sponsored the construction of the new blocks and renovation of existing ones, said the project is a testament to his commitment to educational development.
I am convinced that this project will undoubtedly address infrastructural deficits in the community and elevate its educational standard. And I believe this is in line with the Excellency's rural development agenda in the state.
The Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education, Hadiza Mohammed, who represented Governor Umar Bago, said the government is challenged with the quality of work done by the Nigerian Navy and pledged to maintain the structures.
I think we are challenged as a ministry, and we pray that we will have more individuals coming to support the education system, because the government cannot do it alone again.
The two new blocks constructed by Rear Admiral Stephanos Albara consist of 5 classrooms, 2 offices, a security post and fence, modern toilet facilities, furniture, solar power, as well as the renovation of 3 blocks of classrooms.
A laudable project there by the Nigerian Navy. However, a lot of people have raised questions. Is that what that region needs now, or can more be done, to secure schools in that region? Well, your guess is as good as mine, and we do hope that later on in the program, during our discussion segment, we can find some answers to that question. Well, away from Nigeria, but still in education, for now we go to the United Kingdom, where Home Office Minister Jess Phillips says raising the national insurance rate for employers will impact the cost of childcare. And Birmingham Yardley Member of Parliament in an interview said Midlands funding shortfalls in nurseries has fallen on parents since her own children went nearly 20 years ago. When asked if the rise in employers' contributions would make the situation worse, the minister said undoubtedly, adding that the government has announced further investment in childcare. She said the rise was announced in last month's budget when Chancellor Rachel Reeves said it was needed to put the public finances on a firm footing. I mean, UK has had all kinds of problems, financial problems really, with economic problems really with that country's economy, and this has impacted on virtually all aspects of life. Now, education is not spared, as for the past 2-3 years, education funding has also taken a hit, especially as pertains to early education, talking about kindergarten, I mean from K1 through K1, K12. It has been, impacted severely. Even up to the school feeding programs has also had its own fair share of funding challenges. And, the new minister, the new chancellor, has come out repeatedly to say that, funding cuts needed to be looked into to ensure that the sector doesn't suffer too much, even though the general economy in the United Kingdom also needs all the help it can get. And we do hope that, time at all, global economies will, get some respite. Because whether you like it or not, all around the world, countries are experiencing inflations at record level. Inflation at record level across all boards. Some, 300% higher than they have ever seen. And so it is our hope and our prayers, that governments can find the solution that they need to ensure that the people and the government itself can continue to thrive. Well, that's it on the news beat. Join us again after the break as we will tell you what career opportunities are open to someone who studied medical laboratory science. But that's during the break. After the break, we do have a discussion coming up. Take a listen. Well, it's great to have you back. And of course, if you've just joined, you're watching Edu Connect, showing exclusively on LN 24/7. Now, with the recent security challenges arising in Nigeria's north, especially in the northwest and north central part of the region, the need to rethink security strategies, especially as it pertains to education, becomes very paramount. Hence our discussion today as we take a look at the Safe School Initiative and security threat in northern Nigeria. Now, we did have a discussion on this subject matter on the morning show, the Front Burner segment of the morning show. And of course, we thought to bring you an excerpt of that conversation we had on the flagship program. So we will just leave you with that excerpt from right now, and have you take listen very intently to some of the facts that our subject matter experts put out there, and then think to yourself, what can you do to help the situation? Now, after that excerpt, we will also bring you some information on some upcoming education conferences from around the world. Well, I am Precious Obaze. Enjoy. And of course, our talking points again are we're looking at the impact of rising insecurity on education, but also looking at the effectiveness and challenges of the Safe School Initiative. And of course, we will bring up some recommendations for strengthening school security. Again, our guests are Mohammed Abdullahi Mohammed, is the convener, North Central Stakeholders Forum, and of course, the Chairman, Board of Trustees, Legacy, Global Development and Empowerment Center in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. We also do have Reverend Polycarp Baja, who is by no means a stranger here. He is the CEO, Director General, Stride Leadership Foundation. Thank you very much for making our time to be with us today. As we discuss, Reverend, it's good to see you as we discuss security threat in northern Nigeria, and of course how that impacts the education sector. I do recall I had a conversation with you recently where we were talking about some new security threats in that part of the country. In your opinion, what's the security situation right now in northern Nigeria? Whether the west, northwest, north central, just the north generally, what's the security situation like in that environment?
Thank you, Precious, and it's good to be here, and thank you for having me. The security in the northern part of the country has been very disturbing. A lot has been happening both in the north central area and the northwestern area, and significantly in the last few days, Urawa has been on the news. I think a lot of people became a lot more disturbed that people could just walk into Nigeria from Niger Republic, take over our rural areas, and in fact, not only abduct people, and they actually collect regular taxes from them. And it's like a government within a government. And at first, when we had the news and the army confirmed it, people were wondering because it looked like a new thing. But when you look a little bit deeper from the research by Murtala Mohammed Rufai, who is an associate professor in Sokoto there, and he said that these people have been around for over 20 years and very active in the northwest or in Sokoto and Kebbi area in the last 8 years. And of course, you're wondering, so where have been our security agencies? We have over 15 of them. And what has been happening? How come this kind of thing is happening? And of course, the Lakurawas are not by any means the only group that have been raining mayhem in the northwestern area and Sokoto State, Kebbi, Zamfara, and so forth. A lot has been happening. And this brought to the fore a very, very disturbing component. And people were wondering, so what have we been doing? How is it that people can do this, walk into our country and take over our country? Where in the world have these people been? And of course, even disquieting is, why haven't we heard this from the chief security officer of the state himself? Even if he does not have, as it were, an army at his disposal or the police, such a development to take place, it's still largely absent. It's a big job we have with our legislature. The National Assembly needs to really sit up and come up with this. We cannot be a country independent for 64 years and we do not have a comprehensive and a cogent and a cohesive security policy.
Strategy.
So we have a reactive policy of defense, of defense strategies. We need to do much more. I hope the federal government is listening because our policy makers need to sit up. I was looking at a summary of some of our budgets in the Northeast and the North Central. Go and check these budgets. Security is the chief problem we have had in this country. Where is the place of security in our budget? Go and look at Sokoto State. Go and look at Zamfara State. You are saying things like building motor park. You are building, all kinds of funny things. You won't see the word security.
Is it a lack of
this? Even if
Is it a lack there of awareness on the part of the governors? Like, is it that they don't care or they don't know enough to know that those motor parks will become unmotorable if, the people are not secured enough? I mean, while we have the federal government and we have, of course, all the federal government paraphernalias at that level, I also do believe that the states do have a role to play, and in whatever issues are unfolding, because they are the first victims or survivors or beneficiaries of what happens in that region. And so when we talk about security being the #1 challenge in that region, yet the governors are not aware enough, to understand that they must put premium on security. Where then are we heading as a people and as a nation?
Precious, what about policy? This is what I mean. Whether a governor wants to do it or not, policies force people we have put in trust to do what they must. If there is no policy, there is no bill. No bill, there is no law. If there is no law, you cannot hold the government responsible and take of your loved ones. So when somebody comes to your local government and your city and kills everybody, you can't take the government to court. Why? Because we don't even have a security policy that has been outlined into a law where you can actually hold the government responsible for the damage and for the death and for the trauma of our people. Is where we need to start. I think that our legislature needs to be sleeping. They need to sit up and do the needful. Because if you have a policy, first of all, it is also going to undergird, it will guide, it will inform of the decisions that a governor and a local government chairman will make. But if you don't have a security policy, what we call very ridiculously here a security vote is like a pocket money for either the local government chairman or the governor. It's not open to audit. You don't need to account for it. In fact, you don't even need to disclose it. What kind of a country is that? And if we have no policy, it means you cannot hold accountable these holders of office. And this is one of the reasons why you can have in our budget, look at 2023, 2024 budgets, look at the states. If security has been the major problem in Nigeria, go look at our budgets. You won't find almost anything on the security. Are we really serious? Because these are some of the very basic, fundamental things that are wrong with our system. And we keep on running back and forth. And you have people saying things like, we're going to take care of it. We are going to liquidate the labor hours in no time. Just like, we came out of a situation in the immediate past where at the worst level, you will hear the government in the previous regime say, we're on top of the issue. They just finished killing your men and killing your people. And you come and be telling us you are on top of it. Now we are hearing, we're going to dismantle them. They've been there for 8 years. You haven't dismantled them. What are your plans? What are your plans? What is the policy? What are we going to do? And then you have to come to the absence of the security policy informing on our security architecture. These are very, very fundamental issues and foundational matters. So if you have a situation like this, and our architecture, our security architecture is almost a laugh compared to what we are seeing around us. And so we're having people running all over the place. I was watching the video you just played right now, And the Navy is at Paikoro in Niger State. And the question I have to ask is, what is the Navy doing in Paikoro? It's good that it is there by Shiroro Dam. We have a whole lot of barely governed seashores. What is the Navy doing in Paikoro? The Army and the police and the other security agencies, what are they doing building schools for primary schools? No, we have situations. We have in Shiroro area where Paikoro is not far away from that place. We need to see a greater presence and a more cohesive policy and implementation and measures and proactive measures to take care of this. For how many years? The previous governor of Niger State, the present governor of Niger State has become the new center for Boko Haram and the other people. And very, very disgraceful deaths and things that have taken place with our security. It is time for us to sit up. It's not rocket science. They're just basic things that we need to put into place. And when we put that into place, then we will begin to talk about our farmers going back to their farms. Then we will talk about our children returning to school. 24 million out of school children, the highest in the world.
Reverend, we'll come back to you.
Bother our leaders.
Indeed.
Yes.
Reverend, thank you so much. I mean, you've poured out so much information right now that I guess everyone, person watching this program at this time, they're asking themselves questions. Where are we headed as a people? What are we actually doing with our security infrastructure? So thank you very much. We'll come back to you, Reverend. But right now, I need to engage our second guest, Mohammed Abdullahi Mohammed, who is the convener, North Central Stakeholders Forum. He is the chairman, Board of Trustees, Legacy Rural Development and Empowerment Center in Abuja. Good morning, Mohammed. It's good to have you join us on the program this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I mean, we're looking at the Safe School Initiative and, of course, the impact of rising insecurity on education, especially in the northern region of the country, the northwest, most especially north central, and, of course, other parts. But this morning, our focus is security and education. How do we marry both, especially in the face of what is going on in the northern part of the country? You're talking Borno, you're talking Zamfara, you're talking Niger, you're talking different parts, just almost everywhere in the north. How do we marry this? How did we get to where we are today, where, you know, people can't move around safely, children can't go to school, farmers can't farm, people can go about their daily lives?
Thank you very much. You see, since the adoption of the Chibok girls, and the launch of the Safe School Initiative since 2014, up to this moment, one can say as a analyst and people that are watching on the ground to see what is happening, we were highly disappointed since 2014. We have been looking for forum and opportunities to, of course, inform the stakeholders that it is no longer news if nothing is done. The last protest that was done, the end bad governance, is an example of the calamity that is awaiting as a time bomb for this country. You see, when you have about 13-point-something million out of school children in the north as a stretch of time, and this number is increasing, then therefore you are really waiting and knowing the danger that is forthcoming. Now, you cannot divert the security and education. They are going pari passu, because without the security, there is no place for even education. For example, across the northeast and across the northwest and north central now, some of those schools, the children they go to learn every day are now centers for IDPs. So therefore, virtually all the school children are at home, or they are learning under trees and what have you, and the majority of them are out of school. So therefore, there is critical issue on ground for us to look at, the issue of security. The issue of security must have a front burner in whatever we are doing in these countries. I have listened to the last speaker. You see, so many of our governors at the state level have abandoned some of these things and are going for airport and so many other infrastructures, leaving school out of this. And that is a very serious matter. You cannot, at this point in time, begin to prioritize issue of airports and other infrastructure, leaving education and schools out of the game. Now, we have seen in Bauchi, in Kano, and in some places of recently, if you see the state of classrooms where the young people sat on the floor, and even the cement and the concrete on the floor are no longer available, is sand and dust. These are serious indication that we are in trouble as far as the issue of safe school and security is concerned. Now, of recent, the stakeholders in the Northern Axis and the governors, including the Office of the National Security Advisor, have launched an approach. They call it a multidimensional approach to tackling issue of insecurity, then returning the young people to the school. But in terms of implementation, it is zero. It is only for the effort of organizations such as the Coalition of Northern Group, the CNG, and some other NGOs there that are trying to ensure that this initiative come on board life, and then our children begin to have access back to their schools. For example, now in Niger State here, some of those schools have been taken back from this. See the surge and the increase in our governors visiting foreign countries, China, UK, and some of them Brazil, to go for shows. Unfortunately, they are not carrying back those things that are critical that they've seen from those places where they are going, develop, and become what it is today because of the level of dedication and seriousness and policies they put on ground as far as education is concerned. But now they've come back home, they've put more pressure on building airport and living education. Where you have 13 point something out of school children in a region devastated with insecurity, this is a potential danger. This is organized a platform for recruitment of further fighters and armies to the terrorist organizations. Check the videos. You see, it is the young people are now getting even angrier across the north. They are now participating in protests, in massive protests. They are now coming bolder. They are becoming more aggressive. So that is why our government need to understand that going forward, the business is not going to be as usual. They must ensure that public schools are put in a good shape, employ qualified teachers, train them, make sure they increase their allowances and salaries and wages. This will give them the impetus and the distance to stay and teach these children. And then the federal government before now have come with policies of school feeding program, and corruption have eaten deep into these programs. We're hoping that with the relief of the former minister, a new minister of poverty has been appointed, hoping that he will ensure and look into that school feeding program. It has helped in some of these communities across the north. It has helped in bringing more children, in enrolling more children into the school system. We're hoping that if this system is checked again, and with the high rate of poverty now and hunger in the land, that initiative, of course, can assist in bringing more enrollment into the system, and then keeping the people in the schools for them to learn. But while that is happening, the government, especially the state government, the federal government have the control over the machinery of the army and other things. But you see, we are neglecting the role that the state government can play when it comes to the issue of security. The last speaker have said it. They collect this vote, ceremonial security vote, the state and the local government. They don't use it purposely for the purpose it is meant for. This is dangerous. So going forward, they must begin to look at those allocations and use them for that which is meant for. That is the only solution to some of these things. The government must be seen also supporting what is happening from the center, standing for their people, mobilizing available resources to see that the schools are put in good shape and security are provided at the entrance of this security. Most importantly, information must be gathered. Now, for example, in Niger State, so many boarding schools are closed now. For example, of Mariam Babangida that we have in Niger State is now filled up to capacity because some of the people have to pack their children because of the safety concern and bring them to one major boarding school that is in the state center. This is danger. So you have 10 boarding schools who have been locked up, shut down, and then now only one surviving. How can that one come? Before you get to a single admission, now you must know the Commissioner of Education. She must sign the admission letter. That is serious. How can you train the girl child? We have abandoned that sector completely. We take them to marriages. It is good, normal for you to get them off marriage, but you see, you cannot marry them off without quality education embedded in them. It is this education that will give them the avenue to be able to fetch and support their family where they went to marry. The girl child education here has been seriously, even the NGOs are doing less when it comes to the issue of girl child education in the north. When you go to the south, considering the number of the NGOs you have there, but the NGOs over the years, because of their own safety and other things, they have abandoned the region, hosting their offices in Abuja and then contacting their people to work and come up with data and do this thing. We need to leave our comfort zone. We need to support what is happening in the region. When the leaders begin to see that any other person from the community level, the Meongua, the emirs you have, everybody must work together to ensure that we put our heart in, to ensure that we get out of this canker. You see, another thing I want to say that is that we must ensure that as a people, we don't abandon our collectivity. The issue of education responsibility, the government, the people, and the community leaders, the tradition must do whatever it takes to ensure that we put our hands together. But you see that security angle, government have a role to play, very critical, and they must come out. They cannot continue to hide. We will shout, we will call their name until they take responsibility. If not, education at this region is at the mercy of this insecurity.
Well, thank you very much, Mohammed. Thank you very much, Mohammed.